Hello, welcome to World Insight here on CCTV International. As always, we bring you 30 minutes of news analysis and all of it from a Chinese perspective. I'm James Chow here in Beijing. Let's get started. Move on to our first story. This past week, China and the US met for their fourth round of their strategic economic dialogue, this time in Annapolis, Maryland. And on the eve of this two-day meeting, the Chinese government signed a number of business agreements with major US companies. The week also saw the US formally open its tour market for Chinese groups, a significant achievement from the previous dialogue. The framework is bringing tangible benefits to more and more ordinary people from both sides.
A long-awaited trip. Now, these places are no longer far away to ordinary Chinese. With the arrival of this first tour group, the U.S. becomes an official tour destination for residents of China.
I'm very excited. I've wanted to visit the U.S. for a long time. I signed up for the first U.S.-bound group as soon as I heard the news.
The 200-member group's 12-day tour will take them on routes along the east and west coasts. Their itinerary includes Washington, D.C., New York City, Los Angeles, and Hawaii.
The
opening of group tours to the U.S. has built a bridge for people in the two countries to deepen understanding and strengthen friendship. It also lends support to the Sino-U.S. strategic economic dialogue.
Chinese with visas have long been permitted to travel to the U.S. But the gate for Chinese tourists finally opened when China and the U.S. signed a memorandum in late 2007 as a result of their third strategic economic dialogue. It allows Chinese travel agencies to market package tours to American destinations and permits U.S. destinations to advertise directly to the Chinese public. Analysts say the breakthrough is more than just a symbolic step.
Well, I think first, $1 spent in tourism is not just $1. It has a multiplier effect, and it leads to further gains down the line. Also, in terms of the U.S. economy, it's a good time, I think, to invest in tourism resources to support this new flow of people coming from China.
The U.S. Department of Commerce has forecast that the number of Chinese visitors will reach almost 580,000 by 2011. It calculates Chinese travelers on average spend upward of $6,000 US per visit to the U.S., more than residents of any other nation. The huge numbers of Chinese travelers and their free-spending ways will bring more economic opportunities for the U.S.
Because of the arrival of Chinese tourists, local economies in this region certainly will see a boost. And together with this tourist industry in these sectors, the retail industry in these sectors, in these regions, I should say, will also see a big boost. Because let's don't forget, these Chinese tourists are not only sightseers, they are also huge consumers.
Many hope the handsome revenues of China's outbound tourism may help reduce the U.S. trade deficit.
Trade in services in tourism has been an area where the U.S. has had a surplus. So usually if you take out airplanes and take out big capital goods, the U.S. has only a few areas where it has a surplus, and tourism is one of them. So I think certainly looking at the depreciation of the U.S. dollar, making it more attractive for travelers from overseas to visit the U.S. and to shop in the U.S., I think this could have a positive and net benefit for the U.S. trade deficit.
The trade imbalance between China and the U.S. is one of the key issues in their economic relations. China and the U.S. both rank second on each other's trade list, with a total volume of $300 billion US. American manufacturers contend that China's undervalued currency is a major reason for China's trade surplus. When the two countries agreed to launch negotiations on an investment treaty on Wednesday, the Chinese yuan hit a fresh high of 6.88 to the dollar. The yuan has gained about 20% against the dollar since Beijing revamped its foreign exchange trading system in July 2005. Recent trade statistics show U.S. exports to China have grown more than 20%, while China's exports to the United States have grown less than 10%.
To reduce the trade deficit, China has taken several measures, raising the currency, opening its financial market progressively, protecting the intellectual property rights, and ensuring the safety of products. The two countries have different economic structures, so the trade gap cannot be reduced overnight. They need more cooperation in energy, environment, and high technologies, which are the win-win solutions.
Ahead of the fourth round of the SED held this week, the two countries signed 71 contracts and agreements worth $13.6 billion in total. They also signed a 10-year cooperation agreement on energy and environmental issues.
As the cooperation extends to new areas, more problems may emerge along with the development. The two countries need to avoid politicizing economic issues and stabilize the strategic economic relationship.
Given the substantial progress in dealing with contentious issues such as currency and the trade deficit, the Chinese Vice Premier counseled continued patience.
Our economic cooperation is an irreversible and unstoppable current. Along with accelerating economic globalization, countries are increasingly interdependent economically. China needs the United States, and the United States needs China.
And the U.S. also takes the long-term view.
The United States and China don't always agree on economic issues. Sometimes we may even disagree strongly, but we keep talking. That was the purpose of establishing the SED, to keep this most important and complex relationship on an even keel, even during times of tension.
Paulson's words may reflect the view of many U.S. business leaders. Building a productive and prosperous partnership is in the long-term interests of both countries.
Well, let's stay with this story because the complexity and importance of signing U.S. trade ties calls for cautious decisions with each and every step, as well as long-term strategies. Maintaining good channels of communication is the best way, surely, to address the challenges ahead. Well, speaking of ahead, you're watching World Insight, and when we come back, we're going to look at politics in Israel. Stay with us for all that and more.